Tommy, quite an odd ending to the game here today. I know it's a 4-point win for Tipperary. We're both facing each other again in the Munster final.
Yeah, Valarie, I suppose the game had everything as regards hard work, honesty, absolutely brilliant scores. But what I did lack, I suppose, at the end of the day was the final few minutes. There was no tension, there was no nerves. Both of them had a fair idea that they were going to be in the top three and probably in the Munster final. So, yeah, it was a strange ending and it was nearly like a draw usually.
Now, you coming into the game, you had tipped Limerick to win and you were proven wrong in the end, but are Tipperary just that much better than them?
Yeah, I was wondering before the game, like, would Tipperary be able, for the intensity that Limerick, I suppose, bring to every single game? And they answered me. They really were, because I think they've been training like that since they went back in November. Everything is about hard work, everything is about speed, movement. And when they were hit, like the first ball Bubbles got, he was soloing in to the goal beyond at the town end, and there was a goal chance on, and 3 Limerick lads put him to the ground. And I was there, is this a sign of things to come? But by God, they got back up and they worked like dogs. And at the end of the day, like, it was their efficiency in front of goal. When they got a half chance, turned, twisted, flick of the wrists over the bar, and John McGrath did it, Bubbles did it, Shamie Callan scored, I'd say, 1-4 here today, and just a brilliant, efficient performance from Tipperary.
What do you think is the difference between them this time last year, they were gone, and this time? Do you think it's Liam Sheedy that's brought something back into that team?
Well, if you go back to Michael Ryan's first year involved, I'd say it was 2016. It was the same thing. They were so hungry. They went on and won the All-Ireland by 8 or 9 points. They brought a huge intensity to every performance that year. And it's something similar this year. That's what sometimes a new manager brings. It's just a freshness about the whole thing, and everybody is out to impress because they don't know what way the manager is thinking, and they know he has no favourites. They know that he will pick the best team, and I think it's just they're fresh this year, and they had a great win in the first round of the National Hurling League, and then they kind of went off the boil. They were hit and miss, but since the Munster Championship started, they have been gung-ho, and I think it's their work rate off the ball is the key thing.
Limerick, a few sloppy mistakes. What do you think they need to work on the next day?
Yeah, and there was only really the goal in the difference at the end of the day, 122 to 21 points. So they weren't that far off at all, and they were missing a couple of players that will come back from the Munster final. So I think the tension, the excitement, the nerves, that will bring a whole different game the next day. And it was like I heard Brian Cody saying earlier on that last night's game with Kilkenny and Wexford, it's like the replay now, and the Leinster final was a draw. Well, although this wasn't a draw here today, it's like it's going to be a replay now in a couple of weeks' time, because I'd say there could be 40,000 at this. Both teams will want to put silverware onto that bus, and I'd say what do they have to work on, Limerick? Listen, they'll have a few players back, and they could make the difference.
And I know it's early days, I know there's only 2 weeks, but how can you see it going the next day? Can you see Limerick just having that bit more of an edge after being stung here today?
Yeah, I'd say they will have the edge, because Kylie he's like a psychologist, really. Like, we've seen that after the first game against Cork when they were defeated, they came out like animals in the next couple of games. So I reckon it'll be something similar this time. Look, we have to remember they won the All-Ireland coming from third place last year, and you're wondering, because there's such great experience of coming in third place, was that half kind of in the back of their minds coming in today, not to win it and come in third place like last year. But listen, they're in the Munster final now, and they'll gung-ho, and listen, we'll see, but I'd say there'll be nothing in it.
I know Tipperary might have a loss the next day, having lost Bonner Maher. Looked like quite a serious injury, and he will be a big loss.
Yeah, and the Bonner, I was taking notes during the game, and I had my top players down for Tipperary, and he was number 1. He was over under the new stand over there, and he was winning ball after ball, and it's the work rate he brings back the field, because he's able to, I suppose, track players back, so it gives the likes of the Paddy Maher and Rona Maher room to manoeuvre and read the game, that they don't have to be sticky up their players, beside their players. So he is vital to that Tipperary team. But listen, they've Dan McCormick come back in. He's a kind of a very same as Bonner in the way he plays. He tracks back, and he's really a workhorse. And now Barrett, I'd be worried about him as well. Kind of a leg injury, it appeared, that he went off with as well, and he's the man marker. He's the lad that gets the tip crowd going. The first ball that came in between him and Gallan, he tore over there in front of the new stand again and just flicked the ball off him, and that gave everyone a lift. So if the two guys are missing, which hopefully they're not, it'll be a big loss for Tipperary.
Yeah, we're expecting a big battle next day, but I know you're a mad rush home now for Love Island, Tommy.
yeah, we missed it last night. Now I hate Saturday nights when it's not on, so fierce excitement. I don't know, we'll have to tape the Sunday game and watch that after Love Island.
So you're going to big Love Island up to the Sunday game, will you?
Aye, absolutely.
Thanks very much, Tommy.
Alright, Valarie.